Well, folks, another day, another video started at Jegs. Up at the warehouse today, Mr. Bob McVay called me and let me know he needs some more parts. Moving both the Oldsmobile 455 project and the Pontiac 350 project forward. Not the HO, just the normal 350 project. But I need some parts. So today, we're starting off here at the Jegs warehouse and corporate headquarters. Pick up a couple of things, then we're on our way through a snowy day up to go see Mr. Bob McVay. That all rhymed. How about that? Stick around, let me get my parts. We'll get back on the road and we'll see Bob. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Freeze-out plug kit, Oldsmobile. Gasket kit, Oldsmobile. There's an interesting story coming on the gasket kit situation here shortly. I'll tell you that in a little bit.
Careful out there.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. All right, folks. Well, welcome to the house that Bob McVay built. Get in here and talk to Bobo, see what's going on. What, are you standing around watching TV?
Yeah, learning.
I turned my camera off before Bob told me this, but this is where I get all my views from. Bob loads my YouTube stuff up here. All my views are just you on loop.
Just me, just running.
I appreciate that, Bob. Thanks. Appreciate that. For those of you who are new here, let me catch you up on the story as it is right now. Oldsmobile 455 build. This is for a customer of ours. It is going to be a low-octane pump gas build that we are building for a customer's big bad Oldsmobile. It's going to be kind of a drag and drive car, power tour vehicle specifically, so that he can take it out and be able to run any kind of crappy dyno juice he can find and be able to enjoy it and be able to make some good power. So we're going to aim for something in the low 9-to-1 compression so we could run it on 87 octane. This thing we've got pretty well figured out, other than something with a gasket issue, which I'm going to talk to you here in just a second about it. This is my 350 Pontiac motor. This is a basically factory rebuild type of thing. Well, at least that's the way it started. This is the 71 block that came out of my 1971 Pontiac Le Mans Sport. It was factory crank, factory rods, factory pistons. And we thought we were going to be able to just put it back together again as a factory rebuild, just refresh it and put it back together again. Ended up not being quite the case. Bob did go ahead and hone this. We initially were thinking we were going to use factory rods and factory pistons. However, it ended up one of the rods is not quite where we want it to be. So we ended up needing to either recondition these 1971 rods or put a new set of rods in it. Then you get a conversation about, do you put old 1971 pistons and wrist pins on a set of brand new rods? Fortunately, I have a set of Eagle rods here for another Pontiac project that I'm building. So we're going to steal those rods. But it just doesn't make sense to put factory pistons back on brand new rods. So I do have a set of, I believe they're Silverlight standard bore Pontiac 350 pistons that are on their way. That'll give us a brand new set of pistons and wrist pins to be able to use in this motor and get it as fresh, as ready to rock and roll as possible. We are putting a new camshaft in this thing. It's a little bit on the aggressive side, but nothing crazy. This is going to be an iron-headed exhaust manifold, quadrajet intake manifold, and quadrajet carburetor. Pretty stock rebuild, so we're not getting anything crazy on that. The 350 HO build is going to be considerably more stout. We're going a lot more aggressive with that. But what really brought me back up here is Bob is trying to make progress on this Oldsmobile 455 project here. And he got to the point where he was getting the rotating assembly in and he needed to be able to put a rear main seal in it. And he got into our Felpro 2601008 gasket kit and discovered that somebody, probably one of you Oldsmobile people, had already gotten into that kit and robbed some things out of it. Also left some things in it. So this is our kit, our engine builder gasket kit, and it's got an Jegs head gasket, just one. does have 2 of their actual head gaskets in it. Missing intake manifold gaskets. It's got torn water pump gaskets, and it's got even a camshaft card in it. So somebody's got a 512, 523 camshaft, which is nice, from Engel. This was also in here. Grind number was JM22-25H. So clearly somebody else had already been in here and stolen some of our bits and pieces out of this. Fortunately, we do happen to have a set of intake manifold gaskets here, so that's not a big deal. The water pump we have comes with comes with gaskets in it, but I'm not in the mood to use somebody else's stuff. And somebody pulled a fast one on the guys at Jegs, repackaged it, and probably just returned it. They stole what they needed to out of it, the rear main seal and whatever else they needed, repackaged it and returned it to be able to get their money back. And you know, all that does is screw the next guy. Hi, I'm the next guy. So I did swing into Jegs on my way up here and picked up that NG gasket kit. So we're going to go ahead and open that up and make sure that we've got everything we possibly could need in there, make sure somebody else didn't pull a fast one on us, so that Bob can continue making progress on my customer's Oldsmobile 455 project. So give me just a second. I will open up that package and we'll verify our contents, and then Bob can move forward. What's very frustrating when you're a machinist is when you're trying to move projects forward and you get in a stuck point where you have work to do and you can't do it because you don't have the parts you need. Do your very best as a customer to never allow the engine builder to overrun you. Try to have parts sitting on the shelf for them to keep working on. So I'm going to open up this kit. We're going to see what we got. Hey, looky there. We've got seals. Cover gaskets. Exhaust gaskets. Water pump housing gaskets. Front cover gaskets. These we're also missing out of our kit, were the front cover gaskets. Water pump gaskets look like they're good. Thermostat gaskets. This does have a rope seal for the rear main, so we are not going to reuse that. We're going to be using a 2-piece seal. Okay. Something that probably doesn't need to be said, but I'm going to say anyway, is if you are a hot rodder, your life is expensive. If you're building cars, life is expensive. You've got to buy parts. It's part of the game. Please, please, do not pull tricks on people to be able to save yourself $1 to be able to build your stuff and screw somebody else. Because this just cost us a lot of time because we don't have what we need to be able to move forward with it. So, I get it. You want to save yourself $1, but the face of somebody who's going to get screwed next could be my face. And I don't. Well, that's not entirely true. But don't screw me, please. We do have our new Mylodon pickup for our new pan, Mylodon pan there. Some Oldsmobile gold paint here. Bob's not charged doing paint jobs. This is where we are. Yep. Okay. It's a good camshaft. All right, so I'll take this back to Jegs. Let them know that somebody pulled a fast one on them.
No, that was in there. Actually, that cam card was in that packet too.
This was in there? Interesting. Okay.
I mean, I think somebody did something to them, build an engine or something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Huh.
So you have a rope seal.
Yes. So I'm going to get another 2-piece seal instead of the rope seal.
Okay. I replaced this bushing and rehomed it.
Okay.
So I haven't drilled the holes in it, but I wanted to see where we were going.
Okay. Referring back to previous issue, this is the Oldsmobile crank, scat crank. The customer provided for us. Nice crankshaft. However, it's running big block Chevy journal sizes, which means it needs big block Chevy rods because nobody makes a big block Chevy big end and Oldsmobile little end. So we end up having to take a big block Chevy rod and rebush this with this to make the wrist pin, which is a 990 on a big block Chevy, down to a 980 Oldsmobile to fit our pistons that we had made for this Oldsmobile. A little bit of an extra challenge we didn't really think we were going to have to deal with, but in a street car motor, no big deal. It's just one more thing you didn't know you were going to have to do. But that's going to be done. I do need to find the two-piece seal because I thought that there was a two-piece seal in that box, not a rope seal. So at this point in time, we need to be able to get a rear seal to be able to put the crankshaft back in that block to test fit the rod and piston on this to be able to see where we are on the deck, because you want to have this thing as close to zero as possible, and start figuring out all of our math on that. What other headaches we got going on?
If you're worried about none, I don't think.
Got headaches from other people, not from me?
Like cam toe out.
Oh, I'm sure.
That sludge was in there.
I think this motor spent some good time outside.
It was just that old black STP sludge.
If you're interested in seeing, Rich did a video of tearing down the short block, and he literally had to beat the pistons out of this thing. I'll link it up the top here. It's on the main Lucor channel. But this block had some interesting life before it came here.
Is there a timing cover in?
I have the front cover. I need to bring the yeah. And I believe the oil filter adapter.
I don't know. Did you bring it in?
Yeah. All right, front cover here. Obviously, that needs to be cleaned up and reconditioned before we get all of our brand new components disgusting. There's a wear mark on the center of that. Hopefully, you guys can see that. That Bob and I were discussing about that wear mark, because if you look on, that would be a wear mark for this bolt usually, and there's no signs on this bolt of any wear against the face. So ideally we want to reuse that plate. A lot of times you'll have a button, like a nylon button basically, that sits on the end of this to be able to keep the camshaft from walking and be able to touch that front cover. This obviously does not have that nylon button on it, but trying to just kind of cross our T's and dot our I's here about that mark on the front cover, as far as something clearly is rubbed there, or at least it rubbed there in the past. Now, whether or not that's out of the set that's already set up, or whether or not that's out of a previous life of it, who knows. Again, that motor was in a bad way when we took it apart. Let's go ahead and open this one as well.
Oh.
Make sure nobody is pull a fast one on me on my Pontiac stuff as well, just to be on the safe side. Unscrupulous folks, Bob. People without scruples.
You running? I'm gonna call him.
As soon as I get out of his hair.
Yeah.
Okay, so BOP seals, 1 for an Olds, 2 for Pontiacs. Remember that. All right, so the next thing we really need to also keep in mind here is we need ignition figured out. I put a call into the customer because this has been a couple of months and I don't remember the conversation. I know we're going to be doing a Sniper EFI system on this thing. I don't know whether or not we're going to be using their Hyperspark setup where they have a distributor that's controlled by the ECU. This is essentially what the Hyperspark system is, and it allows you to do variable timing control. We are not going to be using carburetor on this thing. This is going to be fuel injected, and the customer is going to be doing the EFI setup, which is fine because the nice thing is Bob has the setup to be able to do this on his engine dyno, and we're going to break this thing in on his engine dyno. However, I need to talk to Mr. Customer. I don't have cell phone signal up here. I called and left him a message, but I need to get a distributor in here so we can get that part figured out, and then we're going to break it in on Bob's wonderful engine dyno here. I don't think...
What am I doing next?
I have no idea. You already did lunch. Second lunch.
Sounds good to me. Nap.
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 As you get older, you more and more appreciate naps. I had an excellent one on Saturday.
I had one on Sunday.
Well, you worked on Saturday, didn't you?
I did. I think Saturday we dynoed Billy's litter.
Man, putting in the hard work and the extra hours.
Yeah.
Got to get it all done before he goes off to do pirating stuff. So I got to figure out a distributor solution for you.
Sure.
Rear main seal like ASAP situation so you can test fit all that stuff. My bad. That's on me. I'll make that phone call right now. Get those coming. What else do you need from me to get that Oldsmobile to the next level? Figure out the cam button situation with that.
Yep.
One step forward. Huh?
I'm going to check these rods well.
One step forward, 2 steps back. Is that what you said last time I was up here?
What?
Said 1 step forward, 2 steps back. That's what.
That's what it is.
You got to check out.
Also, I'm going to check out that rod. Huh?
So I'll just film you working instead of me working.
I don't think so. You're gonna have to. I'm gonna throw you out of here.
I'm paying for the premium service here. Bob does all the work. Let the old man do all the work.
Of about 50,000.
45,000.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it'll hurt anything.
That's not much. So our concern here is piston depth.
Well, yeah, I need to check. It should be fine.
What we're trying to do is we're being very particular as far as what's going on with this. we need to make sure that our piston depth is correct. If we don't want to end up with too much compression on this thing. Normally speaking, not a big deal, but because we want to run on crappy gas, we don't want to run on too much compression. Now we do have some leeway where we can play with this, so we're not, we don't have to be talking serious, but it is a little bit out of the hole. The tricky part with that is the fact that, technically speaking, this is running big block Chevy rods, not running big block Olds rods because of those rod journals. Nobody makes a 40 thousandths shorter rod than a 6/8 Chevy rod. Trust me, I looked. It's not a thing. So you've got to kind of make do with what you can do. And unfortunately, this is one of those situations where we already had the custom pistons made. So we're kind of trying to figure out a solution to our current situation, which we're going to figure out. We're going to be fine. You just got to make sure you measure twice, cut once.
Clearance. See over here. See what I'm saying down in there? It's clearance there. See where it is so you can. Look good.
Yeah, make sure they're not whacking into that.
There's clearance there. Don't want to do all through all the work and then find out the rods.
Turn it over one time, bang!
It's something.
It'll self-clearance. All right? Bob got distracted. He's playing with a new toy. All right, so the plan is we're going to give this piston just a tiny little bit of a haircut. See, we don't have to take off much material whatsoever. I don't know if I can even get that to focus. It's just a hair's breadth there. That way it gets our pistons back to where we need to be. Don't have to worry about them being out of the hole at all. Compression height will be good. Everything will be happy. Bob will do that while I'm not here, and then he can, well, he's gonna wait for me to get the rear main seal so that he can get all this in, torque all this down, get everything in here, make sure we're good to go, and then we'll do the final math calculations as far as what the CC of the pistons are once we're done with it, and then figure out all of our exact compression ratios. One thing, if you don't know Bob, he's a kind of a stickler for doing things the right way, and I appreciate that because that means we're going to get this thing done correctly. In the past, I have dealt with people that are kind of close enough is good enough kind of people. That's not really Bob's way. Now, that does typically mean it takes longer and costs more money, but you would much rather have things done in the correct way and more expensive way and the slower way than putting something together that's kind of, or slap it together like a lot of people will, and then just kind of hope and pray that it holds together and you don't have anything going on wrong. So that's just how this process goes. So I do appreciate you guys hanging out here and clicking on these videos and spending time with us here. It's a long process going forward, and there's a lot that goes to this. Also, Bob's got a lot of other people's work that he's got to get done. So, that's just the nature of the business. So thanks for being here, guys. Truly do appreciate you. I don't know what's coming up next, but I will bring it to you as soon as I possibly can. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Bob, anything you want to say to the people before we go?
Peace, man.
There you go. Peace. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.